There was a time when the world watched in awe, as a single spark of ambition lit a fire that would illuminate the ages. Greatness rose, towering above the ordinary, shaping the dreams of men and nations alike. But even the tallest flame casts a shadow, and every rise carries within it the seeds of its own fall. In the beginning, there was nothing but whispers of possibility, faint echoes of dreams yet unrealized. From the dust of ordinary men rose a vision so vast, so relentless, that it could not be contained by mere walls or laws. Greatness was not given. It was seized, carved from the raw stone of ambition and tempered by the fire of human will. Leaders emerged not merely to rule, but to inspire. They dreamed not only of power, but of a legacy that would echo through time. Cities rose like monuments to hope. Invention sparked like lightning in the dark, and the people believed that the impossible was, in fact, within their reach. It was a time when courage wore no armor, when vision had no limits, and when the world first glimpsed what humanity could become. And then came the moments that would be sung for generations, the triumphs that made the world hold its breath. Great minds and brave hearts pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Mountains were climbed, rivers were crossed, and empires stretched their hands across the earth. Art, science, and valor intertwined, painting a picture of human achievement that was as dazzling as it was unstoppable. In these moments, hope became a tangible force, a testament to the power of unity and vision. Every victory was more than conquest. It was proof that when people dared to believe, they could reshape the world itself. And the world watched, inspired, dreaming that such heights might one day be theirs. But as the years passed, something imperceptible began to stir in the heart of greatness. It did not arrive with a roar, nor did it announce itself with banners. No, it came quietly, like a shadow stretching across a sunlit field. Pride, complacency, the seductive whispers of power that told those at the top they were untouchable. In the glow of their triumphs, they forgot the lessons that had brought them to the summit. The very virtues that had built their empire, the courage, the unity, the relentless pursuit of something higher, began to erode under the weight of their own confidence. Men who had once labored in the service of vision now labored only for themselves. Laws and principles, once sacred, became tools to preserve privilege rather than justice. Advisors whispered sycophantic flattery, silencing the voices that dared to speak truth. The people, inspired in the past by the fires of hope, now began to see cracks in the foundation. Tensions grew quietly, subtly, like a river wearing away stone. They could not see the rust that crept into their armor, the rot that spread beneath the golden facades. Greed, the oldest companion of power, began to flourish. What had once been a hunger for greatness turned into appetites for excess. The very tools of their success, resources, loyalty, influence, were now consumed without care, squandered on vanity, on spectacle, on fleeting pleasures. It's been tempered by honor now festered into bitterness and betrayal. Trust, the delicate thread that held empires together, began to fray. Even the people who had once lifted their leaders on shoulders of admiration now began to whisper behind closed doors. Discontent, patient and silent, began to ripple through the streets and villages, in markets and forums. The foundations of the mighty were shaken not by armies at the gates, but by those who had been taken for granted. Every injustice, every small betrayal, every quiet abandonment of the common good added weight to an unseen scale, tipping slowly, inevitably. History teaches us that decline does not arrive in a single cataclysm. It does not break through the gates with a sudden storm. No, it seeps in, patient and unrelenting, until the towering walls of even the greatest civilizations begin to tremble. And yet those who built these walls often remained blind to the signs. They believed their rise would protect them forever, that the lessons of the past applied to others, but never to themselves. Pride, hubris, and weakness, the invisible enemies of greatness, had taken root, and nothing could stop this slow, inexorable advance. And then, as all things destined to fade eventually do, the fall came. Not like a clap of thunder, but like the quiet snap of a mighty branch under its own weight. What had once been unshakable trembled. What had been admired from afar was now questioned in every home, every street, every marketplace. The glory that had inspired the world became a warning whispered in every corner. Armies that had marched with unyielding discipline found themselves divided, their banners torn, their loyalty fractured. Leaders who had once commanded reverence now faced mutiny and betrayal. The laws that had upheld society were twisted and broken, serving not justice, but convenience. And the people, once proud of the achievements they had shared, began to turn away, their faith in greatness replaced by fear and resentment. Cities that had gleamed like jewels now crumbled under neglect. Roads once paved for progress became pathways for despair. Temples and monuments, built to honor vision and courage, became hollow reminders of ambition unchecked by wisdom. History, relentless as ever, watched the mighty falter. It was not a single event that brought the empire to its knees. It was a cascade of failures, each small, each seemingly insignificant, until the structure could bear no more. Allies became adversaries, rivals became conquerors. And the world that had once been inspired by these heights learned a hard truth. No power endures when it forgets the values that built it. Yet, even in collapse, there is a lesson. Even in ruin, there is clarity. The fall teaches what the rise cannot: the fragility of power, the cost of pride, and the inevitability of change. Those who watch, those who listen are given a chance to learn, to avoid repeating the mistakes of those who came before. For every empire that rises, every civilization that shines carries within it the seeds of its own undoing. And it is only those who recognize the warning in the fall who can hope to rise differently, more wisely, and perhaps more enduringly. And so, long after the banners have fallen and the walls have crumbled, the story remains. It lingers in the pages of history, in the whispers of the wind through deserted streets, in the monuments that stubbornly refuse to bow to time. The rise that once inspired the world still teaches us what can be achieved when vision meets courage. The fall that followed warns us of what happens when greatness forgets humility, when ambition turns blind, and when pride replaces wisdom. We inherit these lessons not as spectators, but as participants in the continuing story of humanity. Each generation carries the choice to build with foresight, to lead with integrity, and to nurture the flame of greatness without letting it burn unchecked. The echoes of the past are not simply echoes. They are guides showing the path of what to strive for and what to avoid. Perhaps the greatest legacy is not in the stones that remain, nor in the tales that are told, but in the awareness that we are all capable of both creation and destruction. We can rise higher than we ever imagined, but we must also remember that every summit casts a shadow, and every crown carries a warning. So, let this story inspire you, as it once inspired the world. Let it remind you that greatness is possible but fragile. And let it teach you that the measure of any rise is not only in the heights achieved, but in the vigilance and wisdom that ensure it endures. For history is patient, and it waits for no one. It is up to us to learn to act and to rise with the knowledge that our legacy will be written not only in triumph, but in the choices we make to protect it from the fall.